So today in college algebra, we're going to begin Unit 3, Graphing Trig Functions. In this unit, we're going to show you how to graph all 6 trig functions. We're going to start, though, by graphing cosine and sine. So this is what they look like. So here we have a coordinate plane with all the radians as your x values and all the values from 1 to -1 as your y values. Now we're going to start at 0 pi on your unit circle. And if you look at 0 pi in your unit circle, you'll find that the cosine value, which is the x term of the point, is 1. So we're going to put a point at 0, 1. All right, we look at pi over 6. The x value is root 3 over 2. Pi over 4, it's root 2 over 2. Pi over 3, it's 1/2. Pi over 2, it's 0. And then if you keep going along the unit circle with all the different radians, all the way till you get to 2 pi, you'll be able to plot all these points. So pause the video for just a second, finish plotting the points, and then come back. All right, so you've plotted all your points. Now we're going to connect them all with one line. One thing to notice about our cosine graph is it's a gentle sweeping curve. It is not pointy. Okay. Another thing to notice about this graph is that it's 1 period long. Now a period consists of 1 revolution around the unit circle. So you notice from 0 on the x term to 2 pi on the other side of it. All right, so we're looking at the whole graph, but just to look at one snapshot. The graph technically continues in both directions, and it keeps repeating the same pattern. So we can see that here. If we start off at 0 pi with cosine, it goes down, goes back up, and it stops there at 2 pi. But if we kept going along the next round of unit circle to 4 pi, it would do the same thing. It would just repeat itself. And it keeps doing that over and over and over again. It's like a wave. Okay. Now, for all those points that we drew in the last graph, it's kind of crazy. So what we've done is we've distilled it down to 5 points. We're going to do all the axes. Okay, we have 0 and 1, pi over 2 and 0, pi and -1, 3 pi over 2 and 0, and 2 pi is 1. This is what your graph is going to normally look like. You'll have 5 points that you connect with a gentle sweeping arc. Okay, so quick question, why does cosine start at 1? Okay, well, because at 0 pi, the x value is 1, which is why we're starting at 1. Okay, so that's an important thing to remember for cosine, that it starts at 1. Okay, and that's going to be helpful later on as we go through more and more problems and they become more and more complicated. Okay, this is how not to graph cosine. It is not a pointy graph. Please don't make it a pointy graph. Okay, next we're going to look at sine. Same idea. We're going 1 period, which is 0 to 2 pi. If you just look at 0 pi in your unit circle, you'll find out that the y value of 0 pi is 0. So we start at 0. At pi over 6, if we go along the unit circle, we get 1/2. At pi over 4, it's root 2 over 2. At pi over 3, it's root 3 over 2. At pi over 2, it's 1. If we keep going along this way, these are the points that we'll get. So again, pause your video, plot the points, and come back. Okay, so you've plotted all your points. Now we're going to line them or line through all those points. Again, it's a lot of points. Okay, and we don't have enough time in class during a normal class period to graph these using all those points. It becomes very messy, becomes a hot mess. We don't want to do that. So we've distilled it just like with cosine to 5 points. We have 0, 0, pi over 2 and 1, pi at 0, 3 pi over 2 at -1, and 2 pi at 0 again. And this is what it will look like. Okay, so we've made it much simpler in terms of the points that we use, but all those points are still found because they're on the unit circle. Again, as a quick reminder, why does sine start at 0? Because at 0 pi, the y value of 0 pi is 0. Again, this is going to be an important thing to help you if you remember this for when we graph more complicated versions of sine. All right. This is how not to graph the sine function. It is not a mountain and a valley that you would draw on a map with peaks like pointed. So please don't do this. All right. So we've shown you the basics for sine and cosine. Now we're going to show you how to change some of the stuff using what's called an amplitude. An amplitude, the technical definition, is the maximum displacement from the center of the graph. Okay, what that means in English is if you split the graph into two pieces, the top and the bottom of the graph, the amplitude is how high the peak goes and how low the valley goes from the middle of the graph, that midline. That midline is on through the x-axis right there, those 2 points. All right. Now, our amplitude for a basic sine or cosine function is always going to be 1. All right. And we can change that depending on what our equation looks like. So let's show you how that looks. Okay, so the amplitude for these two graphs, or these two equations, is going to be based on the coefficient in front of the equation. So in both of these, the amplitude would be 1, because it would be 1 times cosine and 1 times sine. We just don't write the 1. Okay, but if we put a different number in there, it would be different. So, for example, what is the amplitude of y equals 9 times cosine of x? Well, it would be 9, because that's the coefficient. All right. For the next one, it would be 1/3. What do you think the last one would be? Okay, well, you'd be wrong. You probably said -4. The amplitude is always going to be a positive number, no matter what sign it is. Okay, the negative sign just depicts that something else is going on with your graph, but the amplitude itself is always going to be a positive number. So the amplitude of this equation is 4. Okay, the negative just means the graph will be flipped upside down. I'll show you what that looks like next. So here's a cosine graph with a negative in front of it. Now the amplitude is still 1. Okay, and normally, if you remember, cosine graphs from the beginning of this presentation starts at 1. But because it's flipped upside down, this graph will now begin at -1, because it's going to reflect over the x-axis. So all the points get turned upside down, and then you have your graph that's flipped upside down. Okay. Now, let's show you what happens when the amplitude changes. Okay. So we have 2 sine of x. Now, the first thing you want to do when you're graphing these, and we haven't done this yet, but this is an important piece of your graphing trig functions, is you always have to write down the intervals of your period. Now, the period for these graphs will always be the same, but we're going to show you later on this week how the periods will change, and that's going to be an important piece of when you graph these to show the interval changes. Okay, so our graph is 1 period long, which means it stops at 2 pi at the end, and then you have all the other pieces in between. So we have pi, pi over 2, and 3 pi over 2. We're going to show you an interesting thing about writing those down when we get to period changes. Okay, now, sine usually starts at, if you remember from the beginning of this presentation, at 0. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be multiplying all your point values by 2. So if sine usually starts at 0, 2 times 0 is still 0. Okay, pi over 2, sine is normally 1, but we're going to multiply 2 times 1 and get 2. Okay, so the height difference between the first point and the second point is an amplitude of 2. Okay, then the next point is usually for sine at 0 again. Then the next point is at -1, but we're going to multiply that by 2, which gives you -2. And lastly, 0 times 2 is 0. So this is your 2 sine of x. Okay. Let's look at the next one. You got -4 cosine of x. So again, we have to write down the intervals for our period. It starts at 2 pi. Half of that is pi. Half of that is pi over 2. And 3 times pi over 2 is 3 pi over 2. Okay. So cosine usually begins at 1. Okay. So we're going to multiply 1 by -4. So 1 times -4 is going to be -4. Then the next point for cosine is usually 0. -4 times 0 is 0. The next point is usually -1. -4 times -1 is +4. Okay. And then it's at 0, and then -4 again. So this is what your cosine will look like. Now again, if you look at the points for pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, and you go up or down from those to the highest peak or the lowest valley of your cosine graph, it is an amplitude of 4. There's a distance of 4 between those points. Okay, let's try another one. So we have 2 cosine of x. Okay, again, cosine usually starts at 1, but this time because it's being multiplied by 2, it starts at 2. Notice we've put down the interval for the period again. You always have to do that for each graph that you do. All right. Then you go down by 2 more, up by 2, and up by 2. All right, you should see a pattern for your cosine and sine graphs that you can always repeat depending on what's going on with the graph. All right. All right. Now we have -3 sine. Now I don't think we've seen a negative sine graph, but we write down our interval for the period. Put 3 and -3. Now again, a sine normally starts at 0. -3 times 0 is still 0. All right, then a sine usually at pi over 2 is 1. But now we're multiplying 1 by -3, so the sine graph this time, because it's negative, is going to go down by 3. All right, then it goes up by 3 again, and then down by 3 once more. All right, then we plot our points. We've plotted our points, we can make a line through them, and there we go. So that is the amplitude changes of a sine and cosine graph. Okay, please try and practice, because eventually we have to get to this. These have period changes, shift changes, amplitude changes, all sorts of stuff. We're not here yet, so we don't have to worry about it. All right, good luck, try the practice, and come to class with questions.